Self-love is the new sexy, the podcast devoted to helping you overcome life's most painful and stubborn challenges so you can feel great, have more energy, and live stress-free every day. To reach your full potential, simply work with the powerful spiritual principles that are readily accessible to everyone. It's easier than you think, and on today's show, W. Mark Watts is going to show you how starting with self-love is the key to joyously and harmoniously making that happen.
Hey everybody, it's W. Mark Watts. If this is your first time listening to one of my episodes, welcome to the show. If you're listened to some of the episodes in the past and you're coming back and listening again, welcome back to Self-Love is the New Sexy. And today's episode is to piggyback off of a conversation that I've had with a couple of people who've reached out to me with comments and questions. And it's simply just, I want to give even another example of self-love in my life that maybe people take for granted, or I just want to show you a different face, and that will be the name of this episode, is just another face of self-love, because I think the more examples, real life, real time examples that I can give, hopefully it'll give you more ideas and show you really how self-love is live in your life every single day, every decision you make, regardless of whether you recognize it or not, because largely all that we're doing, all my job is just a reminder. This stuff, we already know so much of these things. And I think it's just my part is just to continue to remind you about these things so that you can take them more seriously and then start to apply them in your own life. So let's dig into it. So this past weekend, I'll take you back a little bit further. About a month ago, I connected with a very nice lady who lives in a different city, lives in Atlanta, Georgia, the beautiful, beautiful city of Atlanta, Georgia. And I am in Charlotte, North Carolina, and in the United States, of course, for those who are listening internationally. And I do very much acknowledge the many people that listen to my podcast outside the U.S. So that's why I say I'm in the U.S. And that drive, it's about a 4-hour drive with decent weather and traffic. And so we met for the first time face to face a couple weekends ago. I drove down and we arranged to meet and we hung out, had a nice trip, and we agreed that we would continue to see each other and continue to get to know each other. So come to this past weekend, I had the wild idea of surprising her because we had agreed. She had a prior engagement. She had some work that she was doing on Saturday, some volunteer work she was doing on Saturday. So we would not meet that weekend. Well, I had the wild hair that, because I love the city of Atlanta, that I would surprise her. And for me, it wasn't about spending a large majority of time with her that particular weekend. It was more about how I felt when I thought about the idea of possibly surprising her, and at least at a minimum, just maybe sneaking a few minutes to say hello and maybe a hug here and there or a joke. That was my goal. Well, as things turned out, my plan did work to a T. I was able to surprise her. So I drove down, drove down, surprised her. We got to spend some time together Friday night. Then Saturday, she did her thing and I did my thing. And then Sunday, we spent the morning together and in the afternoon until I left and drove back to Charlotte. Now, what does that have to do with self-love? I alluded to it momentarily. And what does that have to do with you? What I mean by when I say self-love, it's doing things that make you feel good. And the bonus is when they are related to helping or to contributing to other people feeling real good too. It's totally innocent and there's really no attachment to the outcome. You're doing it simply because you want to do it. And in my mind also, I'm doing it as part of the spontaneous actions and spontaneous thoughts that I was so known for throughout my lifetime. And so here's what happens is as you tend to get older, sometimes you can start to not want to do those things, or you can start to discount those thoughts. Now, I could have sat here and I could have thought of 1,000 reasons why I should not do that. But instead, I thought of reasons why I should do it and reasons why I should do it and not care about the outcome, not care if I did not get to see her. And it was, and then in getting to know her, I wanted her to see that side of me as well. I wanted her to see that, I will do spontaneous things just because, and just for the fun of it. There was no ulterior motives. And again, I love the city of Atlanta, and I've lived there before, so I'm somewhat familiar with it, but I haven't lived there in quite a while, so a lot of things have changed. But it's a great city, and I have friends and family who live there. So there was no way to really lose that. So I looked at it as, hey, it's a mini vacation for me. So I'm going to take a mini vacation, with the huge bonus being I met a very nice lady who lives there who I may be able to see and I might not be able to see. But that's neither here nor there. Either way, I am going to make the very best of the situation, and I'm going to enjoy myself and have fun for me. It's all about making myself happy and doing those things that remind me to be free and remind me to enjoy myself. Because she asked me, she said, well, what would have happened if, we didn't get to see each other? And I'm saying it doesn't mean anything, because I was having fun either way. I was going to enjoy the trip either way. There's a million things that you can do in the city of Atlanta.
We hope you're enjoying today's show. If so, please take a moment to show your support for the show by leaving us a 5-star rating and review on iTunes. If you have questions for W. Mark Watts, please feel free to contact him over at wmarkwatts.com, on Instagram at wmarkwatts, or on Facebook at Self-Love is the New Sexy.
So I was going to have fun. I was going to find some things to do. I was going to enjoy myself. And I was going to enjoy the idea of the fact that I would be willing to take that risk, take that chance, just because I wanted to have fun. And one thing that I remember very vividly about my life is the times when I was willing to be spontaneous, the times when I was willing to think outside the box, the times when I was willing to take a chance have been some of the greatest times of my life and some of the most fun times of my life. And the people that I've been around have also gone along for the ride and really enjoyed the spontaneity, the newness, the thoughtfulness, and just the novelty in someone doing something like that. So when I got there Friday and I text her to let her know that I was actually in town, she was so shocked. And when she called to talk to me, her voice was so high pitched. She was literally yelling on the phone. And then she asked me, why did you do that? And I said, because to hear your voice, to hear the excitement and the surprise in your voice is priceless. And so those are all the reasons. And those are all the things that I'm talking about when you really talk about self-love. It's all about just doing those things that feel right, that are done in fun, where there's no attachment to whatever the outcome is. You just give yourself the freedom. Just remind yourself that it's okay to be spontaneous. It's okay to do things just because. And regardless of what other people think about it, it has nothing to do. The joy that I have in my life, the things that I do, has nothing to do with how anybody else views it, thinks about it, what they say about it. I don't care. It's about me just getting out there and doing those things that really make me happy and really, really give me that good feeling. So I say all that to say is, what are some of those things in your life that you can look at and you can say, man, or I wish I could do that, or I want to do that. I'm going to try that. Well, I invite you to go ahead and do some of those things. And it doesn't have to be as drastic as taking a trip or a weekend trip. It can be maybe buying and starting to read a book that you've been putting off for some time. And maybe that book is related to you switching professions, or maybe it's a romance novel, something that someone's told you is a really good book and you just want to pick it up, but you don't normally read romance novels. But whatever that is for you, maybe it's taking a little, doing a side project in your house where you live, or maybe it is taking the initiative and going out looking to meet some other people, new people, or joining a group, whatever that new thing for you is. Maybe it's a new hairstyle. Maybe it's new clothes, whatever, just something. What is it in your life that feels good, that you really want to do? And it doesn't matter what anybody else says. They can't move you off that spot. They can't steal your joy, because this is no one else's game but your game. This is our game. We get to decide how we feel. And the way that we stay strong is we just constantly do things that we enjoy, that we love, and that bring us peace and happiness. And that ultimately brings other people peace and happiness and joy as well. So I'm going to end on that note. I don't want to belabor this point on this episode, but I did just, I got back, it's Monday, and I just kept thinking about my weekend and just the additional time it gave us to communicate, me and my new friend. And I was so happy. I was just so happy coming back home, and I was so glad that I did it. And she was very appreciative. And we just had we had time to laugh and just joke. And again, we're very new in getting to know each other. So there was more face-to-face time that we get to just sit and talk and chat and, run out and view the city and do things that we normally do. So just keep that in mind, that happiness. I want you to always keep in mind happiness and joy. We control that. The things that we do control that. And many times, one way to get to that place is to do something spontaneous just because it feels great to you. So I'm going to end on that note. I hope that you got something from this episode. If you did, come hang out with me, because we've got a lot more stuff planned. I'm cooking up ideas even as we speak. And I look forward to chatting with you guys as much as possible. So remember, let's make this a dialogue. Send me an email. Catch me on social media, and let's talk. Give me or leave some notes here on the podcast, wherever you're listening to this. Send me a note. Let me know what's going on. Let me know something spontaneous that you are going to do in your life to make self-love top priority for you. Until next time, take care, everybody. Look forward to speaking with you again real soon. Bye now.
You've been listening to Self-Love is the New Sexy with W. Mark Watts. If you enjoyed today's show, be sure to tell a friend. Also, make sure you never miss an episode by subscribing to our show on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, or wherever you listen to podcasts.